The samurai. The samurai were the military and temporary ruling class of ancient and modern Japan. They were very powerful warriors for their time and had a very advanced way of living. They followed a code known as Bushido. They had an advanced training system and armor set. Not only were the samurai very advanced, but also very diverse, as there were many female samurai. The code that they followed had an important part in a samurai's life. Even in battle, the samurai were always thinking about their code, Bushido. Bushido was a chivalry code used in the 17th and 18th centuries to govern the emotions and mindsets of the samurai. Bushido translated means the way of the warrior. It had many variations depending on the location within Japan and time period it was used. Because Bushido lasted such a long time, it has many moments affecting the history of Japan and the samurai itself. It was first developed and used in the Edo period as an oral code from the 800s to the 1100s. In the Tokugawa era, Bushido was greatly emphasized, codified by the scholar Yamaga Soko, and was used to guide the samurai when they held the same power as a single ruler. Its decline occurred from 1873 to 1876. The development of Bushido is partially due to the code of ethics within Bushido. The code has 7 essential principles, known as Ji, making the right decisions; Yu, heroic bravery; Jin, compassion; Rei, right action; Makoto, truthfulness; Mario, honor and glory; and Shugo, loyalty. As a samurai, you were expected to grasp all of these principles. Not following these principles or breaking any rule would result in execution. The code also emphasized the right time to die. Seppuku, a form of highly ritualized suicide performed by the samurai on the battlefield before being defeated. To perform seppuku, you must remove all armor covering your chest, cut deeply across and up, and lean over, letting your organs spill out of your abdomen. Kyoshanun was a form of seppuku in which your head was cut off by your closest comrade or experienced swordsman after performing seppuku. Ethics in the code helped guide a samurai through daily life. Daily life of a samurai warrior consisted of studying battle strategies, practicing calligraphy, solving mathematical equations, and reading. Bushido never allowed the samurai to just lounge around. Never lounge around. It also encouraged them to have strong interest in art, dance, poetry, and the tea ceremonies. The daily life instructed by Bushido is commonly compared to the philosophies and religions of others. Loyalty, as a Confucian concept, became a cornerstone for Bushido. It also taught to praise the Shinto god of war, Hachiman. Bushido was strongly influenced by the studies of Gautama Buddha and Zen Buddhism. Both Bushido and Zen Buddhism stress denial, discipline, acceptance of death, and both believed in Zen, or reaching calmness. Bushido consisted of a long, strung-out timeline, ethics, directions to daily life, and many influencers on the code.
Japan defeated the Mongols, one of the biggest armies ever, and most of the credit is due to the advanced armor and weaponry of the samurai warriors. The samurai would use a very advanced armor set called the haramaki. It was light yet efficient, made of metal and leather. This armor set had over 30 pieces of metal, including a skirt, a knee guard, a nape guard, and an eye guard. The samurai would often travel around carrying banners on their back called the daimyo's crest. In battles, weapons far away were crucial to success and conquest. Multiple sizes of bows were used, such as the long bow, the middle bow, the crossbow, and the short bow. Spears were also thrown at enemies. Katanas were the most important item a samurai had. A samurai's katana was their primary form of self-defense. In fact, this sword was given to the samurai at birth. This weapon was so sacred that a samurai could depend on only that weapon during war. On the other hand, a shorter sword called the wakizashi was carried. It was worn on their belt at all times except when the samurai was in the house. If so, it would be taken off their belt. A scabbard was used as a sword holder and a guard. Sword making was very hard, and cutlers were admired for the hard work put into making the samurai swords. Cutlers were faced with a challenge on how they would make a sharp edge and have it not break from the pressure of battle. They would use 4 metal bars. One was to prevent bending, another bar was used to prevent the sword from breaking, and the last bar was used to make the sword sharp. They would put the bars at a high temperature until it made a long rectangular bar, which would eventually become a sword blade. Shinto priests would be called in during this process to bless the making of the sword. The samurai also had used many techniques with their weapons. In all, there were a total of 6 positions. They were striking, poking, stopping, parrying, covering, and holding the sword. During the Edo period, it was possible to defeat a warrior without ending their life. The form of fighting they used was called kenjutsu, and the warriors were also never told to show importance to the staff as they did with the sword.
Samurai were highly trained military soldiers of their time. The samurai not only had to be trained in weapons and killing, but in philosophy and spiritual training. They weren't just part of the military, but were under power and given land by a daimyo. A daimyo was a rich and powerful landowner that came into the military when it expanded. The daimyo's power was decided by the relationship with the shogun, the second highest leader in the social pyramid. The samurai had to fight hard in order to impress their daimyo, because if not, they would stab themselves with their sword. So they trained hard every day in order to succeed and fight hard. Samurais had to do 2 things. That was survive and kill, meaning they had to think quickly. For instance, their sword broke in battle. They either think to bring more or they improvise. The time when they learned philosophy and spirituality was called the Edo period. The Edo period was between 800 and 1100 AD. Then at the age of 15, the samurai school ended. The samurai celebrated a large ceremony where they would receive a new name, armor, and sword. In conclusion, the samurai were the most highly trained soldiers of their time because of their intelligent training system.
The samurai women were highly respected and very brave. The women would start by putting on the loincloth. Then they would put on their kimono. Then the obi, which is a cloth they would put over their waist. The samurai women wore makeup during battle. They would wear a very white makeup, which supposedly creates a porcelain look and made them look better in the light. The samurai women also wore a dark lipstick. The women used a naginata, which was a long sword. The samurai women didn't have helmets because they were supposed to show off their beauty.
In conclusion, the samurai had a great, lasting impact on Japan. The samurai had a code known as Bushido, an advanced armor set and weaponry, many developed training techniques, and a great diversity due to the powerful female samurai. If the samurai had not been a strong part of Japanese culture, our world would be a very different place today.